Hello everyone and welcome to What the Florida, the show where in every episode we do a deep dive into a distinctly Florida subject. I'm your host and Professional Floridian Kim, and on today's episode we will be exploring the spiritual world of Cassadaga, Florida. So in last week's episode, we discussed the Koreshan unity, but more importantly, we discussed the societal landscape that sort of allowed for a group like the Koreshan unity to come into formation. In the mid to late 1800s, we had the Second and Third Great Awakenings, which led to the creation of a lot of the mainstream sort of religions that we know and love today. Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Latter-day Saints, and the like were all created and discovered around that time period. But religions weren't the only thing coming to power in that time period. There was also a huge boom of spiritualism. So, what is spiritualism and why is it relevant in today's video? Well, the very basic definition of spiritualism is the science, philosophy, and religion, which is based on the idea of continuous life, which is demonstrated through mediumship. People within the group of spiritualism investigate, analyze, and classify facts and manifestations of spirits. They study the laws of nature, both seen and unseen, and they base their conclusions on present and observed facts. They strive to understand and comply with physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are, in turn, laws of God. Now, I'm obviously not here to give you a full lecture on spiritualism. I myself am not a spiritualist, and so therefore I'm not even really qualified to give you that sort of a lecture. But I wanted to lay the groundwork and foundation for Cassadaga. However, if you are a spiritualist, leave some more information down in the comments below. I'm sure everybody would love to hear a little bit more about your beliefs and your philosophies and everything like that. Also, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about spiritualism, in the description box below, I have left some links to where I've gotten my own information, and you can check them out and see if that's something you're interested in too. All of that is to say, Cassadaga is the psychic capital of the world. Cassadaga is located about halfway between Daytona Beach and Orlando. It's about an hour each way. Cassadaga consists of about 57 acres and about 55 homes, most of which are occupied by psychics and mediums that conduct their business right from within the comfort of their own homes. The place has changed very little from when it was discovered by George P. Colby in 1875. Ah yes, another old white man leading a bunch of people to Florida. George P. Colby, the man, the myth, the legend, the founder of Cassadaga. He was born in 1848 in Pike, New York, but it actually wasn't until he was baptized at 12 years old in the Baptist religion that he realized his psychic abilities. He actually became sort of locally known in the area that he grew up in for his clairvoyant and healing abilities. And in 1867, he did officially leave the Baptist church, and he started visiting various spiritual centers instead. As with most mediums, George P. Colby did acquire a set of spirit guides, but the most prevalent of the bunch was a Native American spirit guide named Seneca. In 1875, Seneca told George P. Colby to go to Wisconsin and find another medium named T.D. Giddings. Together, under the direction of Seneca, T.D. Giddings and George P. Colby headed to Florida in search of silvery lakes and 7 rolling hills, and that would one day become Cassadaga. So while George P. Colby did settle in Cassadaga, he did not stop traveling and performing his mediumship abilities. And in 1895, George P. Colby did deed the land to the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Meeting Association, and they were sort of a sister association from Lilydale, New York, and they made Cassadaga sort of their winter home. Since the late 1800s, Cassadaga has been occupied by mediums and psychics, but why? What's so special about Cassadaga? Let's talk about vortexes, shall we? A vortex is a point of concentrated psychic energy somewhere in the world. There are lots of them. Sedona, Arizona, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, Cassadaga. A vortex may be naturally occurring, or it might be man-made due to a lot of psychic and spiritual activity in the area. It's like a circle of life. The natural vortex brings the psychics in, the psychic energy feeds the vortex, and round it goes. Cassadaga as a whole is a natural vortex, but it also has smaller little vortexes located within Cassadaga, such as the Ferry Trail and Seneca Park. Seneca Park is a very beautiful little picnic area park. It overlooks this beautiful big lake that I believe they call the Spirit Pond, or a reflecting pond. And you can kind of sit out there and just look out over the water and really take in all of the natural beauty of Cassadaga. Also, there is a ferry trail. That is another one of the vortexes. The ferry trail is kind of harder to explain. It is basically a makeshift nature trail that both locals and visitors alike have decorated throughout the years. You can find so many very strange things in the ferry trail. You can find art, decorations, tiny little pieces of furniture. A lot of visitors to the ferry trail will bring mementos of lost loved ones, and they will leave them in the ferry trail as sort of a way to honor their memory. One of the most famous, infamous myths about Cassadaga is the Devil's Chair. The Devil's Chair is located within the Cassadaga Cemetery, and while the cemetery isn't technically a part of the Cassadaga Spiritualist camp, it is within walking distance of the town center, and so a lot of people just kind of associate it. But I do believe it's county-owned, but I'm not sure. It is a very old cemetery. A lot of the graves there are from the late 1800s, early 1900s, which is pretty impressive. If you love old cemeteries, then definitely go and check it out. But I do implore you to please, please, please be respectful. It is still the resting place of a lot of people. Let's get into the Devil's Chair. Legend says if you leave a can of beer next to the Devil's Chair, that by morning, the can will either be opened and finished or gone completely. They also say if you sit in the Devil's Chair, you can see Satan himself.
No. Did you see the devil?
No.
Okay, well.
Oh. Never mind. Myth busted. As you can see, the Devil's Chair is just an urban legend brought about by local, myths and storytellers alike. It's really just nothing at all. If you do go to the cemetery and check out the Devil's Chair or any other of the pretty impressive older graves, please, 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 I beg you to be respectful. I labeled this section of my notes Cassadaga to Daga. Thought I'd share that with you because I think I'm funny. So today, Cassadaga is a thriving community of psychics and mediums. They do call themselves the spiritual capital of the world. So obviously, if you ever want a true psychic reading or a medium reading or a tarot reading or any sort of reading at all, and when I get in touch with the other side, Cassadaga is a great place to go. Every weekend, they have classes, historical tours, seances, healing circles, and of course, ghost tours. I have been on one of the ghost tours in Cassadaga. I didn't think it was that great personally, but it might have just been an off night. It was raining, and I don't think our tour guide was very good at her job. So, take that with a grain of salt. I'd still check it out if I were you. Make your own judgment. Down in the description box below, I have linked to the Cassadaga website. They have a calendar where you can kind of check daily events or just weekend events, see what's going on, see if you want to sign up for a tour or a class. It's all very, very interesting stuff. Also, if you just make a day trip there, they have a board outside of the little gift shop that they have that has the names and numbers of psychic mediums or the classes of the day. While you are there, you can stay in the Cassadaga Hotel. It's also not officially owned by the spiritual camp itself, but it is right in the middle of town. It's not the original hotel. The original hotel burned down in the 1920s and they rebuilt it. So maybe that's haunted. I don't know. You can have a bite to eat at Sinotra's, which is the hotel restaurant and bar. You could shop around the gift shop, buy a cute little shirt like this. Or you can just have a moment's peace in the meditation garden. Even if you don't buy into the spiritual shtick, there's enough beauty in Cassadaga to really just allure anybody in. A lot of the houses really haven't changed since the late 1800s. The vibe is very peaceful there. I can't describe it to you. You just kind of have to go and feel it for yourself. While you're there, you may find peace, you might find enlightenment, or maybe the spirit guides will just tell you why Florida is the way that it is. So that is a little bit of overview of Cassadaga, Florida. What did you guys think? Are you convinced of the spiritual world now? Have you ever been to Cassadaga? Are you thinking about going to Cassadaga? Do you like ghosts? Let me know down in the comments below what you thought. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps boost my engagement, boost my views, and helps me travel to far distant places. If you have an idea for a future Florida video, please let me know in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching as always. I will see you in the next video.